Congressman Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger, who says his training and his instincts kicked in big time. And Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, a former Marine, who compared what he saw to tours in Iraq, which is a stunning statement. But good morning to both of you. I was so struck, Congressman Gallagher, because I heard you as this was all unfolding. And you're a Republican, and you're from Wisconsin, and I believe you're a Trump supporter. But I heard you, when this was happening on air on one of the cable networks, saying to the president, call it off, call this off, make it stop.
Yeah, I think the president was the only person in the moment who could have told the violent mob to stand down. And I think what the objectors failed to realize is that there was a real risk to giving millions of Americans legitimate hope that somehow Congress was going to overturn the results of the election on January 6th, which is, of course, not Congress's constitutional role. And it was not a harmless debate to have on the floor of the House of Representatives, as we saw yesterday. And I just want to say to my good friend Jason Crow, that image of him was something that really struck me yesterday. And, I never thought I'd be having a conversation with my staff about how to barricade the doors and what weapons to use and whether I could use the Marine Corps sword I have hanging on the walls of my office as a defensive weapon if the mob came. But that's where we were yesterday. And that's a sad day for American democracy. And I think Jason and I may have political disagreements, but we are united in our opposition to political violence of any form.
Congressman Crow, tell us about that moment. You appear to be giving aid to one of your colleagues. I believe that's Congresswoman Karen Wild. Which is just the human thing to do, but it's also the act of one of our soldiers and one of our veterans.
Well, like my friend Mike Gallagher just said, we both served overseas. We served in combat to meet our enemies outside of the country, and that's something that we signed on to do. I don't think either of us in a million years ever thought that we'd be in a situation as members of Congress on the House floor in the United States Capitol of having to be in a situation of potentially having to fight our way out. But my friend Susan Wild is a friend, and we were both upset in the moment and comforting each other, which I would hope anybody would do in that situation with a shred of humanity. But I want to say that we have to have a reckoning here. We absolutely have to have a reckoning, and one needs to happen in the short term. In the next couple of days and weeks, the traitors who stormed the Capitol need to be tracked down and need to be brought to justice. I think it's really important for the country to see that happen.
Absolutely. And Congressman Gallagher, a thorny problem is in your Republican Party. You were not one of the objectors, but you are a Republican. And what now? Because as we were just discussing it before you came on, there were more than 100 Republican congressmen who still voted to object after everything that transpired. And, it's one thing to have a debate, but I believe it was you who just said that was not a harmless debate.
Yeah, I was astounded that the objectors persisted in objecting after hours of chaos and violence on the Capitol, knowing fully that what they were doing had no chance of success, and courting yet again the dangerous outrage that they had stoked earlier in the day. So I don't understand it as a constitutional argument. I don't understand it as a practical political argument. And I just think going forward, we have to be very careful anytime we try and make end runs around the Constitution. And I think going forward, we all need to commit ourselves forcefully to the peaceful transfer of power here. The election is over. I'm sorry that Republicans did not retain the presidency, but our system of government is designed to protect political minorities, regardless of who wins an election. Our rights do not depend on the party in power. America can survive. We must emerge from this stronger, and we need to take a step back from the brink here.
And those aren't hollow words coming from either of you, who both served and put it on the line in our military for those concepts. And it's the power to gather and the power to protest peaceably, which I believe the rioters and the looters also stole. Those First Amendment rights, tainting them because there were people protesting who would never have done what was done. And Congressman Crow, that's just another aspect of the damage done.
It is another aspect of the damage done, but can we take a step back and just recognize the fact that the story really isn't about Donald Trump at this point? Donald Trump has shown us over and over and over again the last couple of years who he really is. I don't think anyone who's paying attention would truly be surprised about him inciting something like this, because he's talked in these terms for a very long time. The story going forward is about those who have brought us here and have allowed it to happen. The enablers, his inner circle, the members of Congress who furthered these conspiracy theories last night with their objections. They helped bring us here. And that's got to be part of the reckoning as well. We have to have a very serious conversation about how we've allowed that to happen.
Well, I hope we can continue the conversation in a really fruitful way. Congressman Crow and Congressman Gallagher, gentlemen, thank you both for being here. We really appreciate it.